Hello and welcome to the table talk for this afternoon. Actually, it's a sofa talk today. I've been feeling a bit weary, I have to confess. I've been very busy over the last couple of days. I've been down doing a very emotional job of clearing and closing down my mum's house. So Derek and I went down to Weymouth to do that, and it's been quite tough. It's felt like the end of one chapter and the beginning of something else. But in that change, there is uncertainty, there is a sense of doubt, as well as a sense of maybe freedom, maybe responsibility. It's all in there and it's all a big mess in my head, just like it is for everybody else that has to go through those different stages in life. We're doing that with COVID, aren't we? We've been through crisis and we're coming out the other side, but that means we are in a different world and we have different kinds of responsibilities for one another. How do we care for all those generations, all those people around us? How do we think about what others need? It's a tough one, isn't it? The change in my situation with mum dying is that, I'm one of the old ones. That's really scary too. When you are that top layer in a family, and I know many of you will know what that feels like, but it's quite an adjustment. In a few days' time, when the messenger comes out, you'll read an article in which I wrote about having looked at some boats out in the harbour in Weymouth. They were in Weymouth Bay actually, and there are 7 huge cruise ships, very, very glamorous and floating around in Weymouth Bay with no particular place to go. Since the COVID crisis, of course, cruise liners haven't been running, and these ships are all literally just floating around, moving in the tide from one direction to another without really understanding where they're going, where they're headed, how long they will be in this kind of limbo land. And as I was looking at that, I was thinking about it in terms of change and how we cope with change and what we do differently. The church is just like that. At the moment, it's been empty. The buildings haven't been being used. They've been an empty space waiting to have their identity back again. And as we move towards meeting again in church, as we think about what that will be like for all of us, then it's a really good opportunity for us to really think about how we are as a church and which direction we take in these new days post-COVID. Of course, church is very much about tradition, and in my ordination there are promises towards that tradition that are really important to us, and I know to you too. But it's also a time to change and take courage and to think about what it is to be a face to people of God in this world. For many people, it's the only face of God they will know. It's what they see in our churches and how they see our churches. So I, along with all the other members of the churches across Melksham, the leadership across Melksham, have been thinking about what church looks like now. How different will it be? Which direction will it take? We don't know. It's a ever-changing and evolving situation. And for people who are in the Church of England, which is of course still the state church, that might look different to some of the freer churches that aren't so tied maybe by tradition. But it's a time for change for all of us. Many people have been thinking about who they are, where they fit in the world, and if God exists. And for those people asking questions just like that, I want to be part of that conversation. And we will be having a Zoom meeting with big questions that Hannah and I will be hosting. So anyone who's thinking about big questions can come along and have those conversations. But whether it's about the loss of a loved one, maybe the loss of a job, insecurity of home, or just not quite knowing where you're going to fit in the new world. All of those things are tiring, stressful, but they're also challenges and opportunities. So as we think about what we are as church, and as I think about what I am as that older generation of my family, oh dear, and what that means. My mum was very much the matriarch. I don't think I'm quite fitting the bill yet. But it means change. And just like it's change for all of us, it's how we look at it and how we deal with it that matters. So I'm going on gently, seeing what unfurls. See if I fit that matriarch. Don't know if I will. Don't know if it's quite me. Seeing what church will look like in a post-COVID world, and having the courage and enthusiasm to listen to the Holy Spirit and wait to see where God guides us. Because as sure as anything, God has a plan. And the other thing that's for certain is God's already there before us. So it's about us catching up, finding where he wants us to be, finding who he wants us to be, and not being afraid to step into something different. I guess I'll be back at the kitchen table tomorrow, hopefully feeling a bit more energetic and recovered from a busy few days. But it's been good to catch up, and I look forward to hearing from you. So click a like if you like, a grump if you don't, and keep in touch. Ring if you need to. God bless. Bye for now.